Ball up!
I've never seen anything like it before, and to attempt to hit the ball out of there is pure madness.
The winner of the gold medal and the champion golfer of the year is Cameron Smith.
This is the one that I've always wanted to win since I was a little kid. So it just feels pretty amazing to be able to get it done today.
It's amazing that it's my destiny to be the first Aussie to win. Just incredible.
Hello and welcome to episode 36 of Playing from the Tips, Golf Australia Magazine's preview and tipping podcast that covers all the goings-on from around the vast ecosystem that is professional golf. Jimmy Emanuel is my name, and as always, I'm joined by a couple of the so-called experts from the Golf Australia team with the first Webex Players Series of the Aussie summer, a PGA Tour event in Japan, the LPGA also in Asia, DP World Tour in Spain, and LIV's season finale in their sights for this week. Let's meet our so-called experts, and the first is a man who, judging by this week's column for Golf Australia magazine, wants to tear down the historic and storied format of the President's Cup. I speak, of course, of Rod Morri.
It'll be none other than Rod Morri.
It has to go mixed, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
It just closes the circle. The President's Cup is almost good, but not yet. It'll take another 40 years before it can turn into the Ryder Cup. It's got to be competitive over that time. Half the American team don't want to play. Half the international team shouldn't be. Women on both sides fixes it perfect.
To your credit, Rod, you've been saying that for a long time.
I was a skeptic.
Several years.
Well, I was a skeptic when it was first suggested, which came up, I think it was 2017, when they got flogged in New York. It was over on Saturday. They could have literally not played Sunday almost. I think Brittany Lincecum was the first one I saw suggested, and my knee-jerk reaction was, no, look, let the thing build. It just needs to... But then you think about it, and Clates, of course, has been on board with it ever since, and you know what? It just makes so much sense. And it's that zoom out and go, right, if we started again, you'd have a men's, a women's, and a mixed, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the President's Cup is the ideal third wheel to just turn it into the mixed.
Yep.
It's never going to be anything but Ryder Cup light, no matter how good it gets in its current format. So for the game, and it's not about women's golf or men's golf, it's about golf. You could really turn, people would tune into that as they do the Ryder Cup and to an extent the Solheim Cup. Yep. So, yeah, I do think it's I know all the barriers and all that sort of stuff, and word is that the LPGA are worried about making it a mixed event because they're worried about the Solheim Cup. I understand all that. But flip it and look from the other side. So what makes sense for everybody in the game here, and it's a mixed event to me.
Passionate response to what was a joke. Let's next go to a man who is so left field thinking in his way of about going about golf. If he were a dogleg hole, the green would somehow be behind the tee with no direct route. Does that make sense, Logue? Adrian Logue?
Yeah, I've played a hole that's almost like that. There's a course in Denmark that has a hole, the first, it just bends back right back around. It was quite appealing to me, actually.
I'm sure it was. Did it dogleg left?
Yes, it was. Yeah. Very severe.
It says a lot, doesn't it?
Very severe dogleg left.
Before we go on, can I just say, Jimmy, well done on your TV debut this past week at the WAPGA. I didn't get to watch all of it, but I thought you did a fabulous job, particularly for a first-up effort.
Thank you. I did have a mouthful of sponsors to try and do in the presentation that I was a bit worried about, particularly when the crowd gathered around behind the cameras. That
I have to go back and watch that. I missed that.
Yeah.
But I thought your on-call stuff was good, insightful, without giving too much information or talking unnecessarily. Because I know it's not easy out there. You've got people in your ear and you don't know when it's going to be you and all that sort of stuff. So
it was great fun, and well done to Ben Eccles, who won for the first time in 8 years and is a lovely guy. So
might be one of them. And a podcaster, if I'm not mistaken.
No, you think you're Blake Collier.
I am thinking of Blake Collier.
Both blonde-haired Victorians.
Get on with
both
winning,
good
Blake.
Guys.
Yeah.
Like we do every week, we're going to talk quickly on a couple of highlights before we move ahead from last week. Anything in particular? I think Lexi gave a really good account of herself at the Shriners.
She did.
There was a fair bit of other good stuff, really. Minwoo Lee winning in Macau by...
Well, the scores,
like
30 under.
Crazy.
That was a win for our tipping as well.
We'll get to that shortly.
Not too hard to pick that one.
Again, Ben Eccles was magnificent. Hayden Barron coming second after flying from Scotland on the Monday, getting to Kalgoorlie Thursday morning, not knowing who he was or where he was.
Woke up Sunday afternoon and went, I'll just birdie everything.
And I spoke to him before his round on Sunday and said, you think there's some accessible pins out there? He was going from the range to the quick stop at the putting green. He says, "Oh no, I haven't looked at the pins yet." So that's how good his prep was that week. He was just trying to sleep and get on the right planet.
Might be something in that, Jimmy.
Oh.
It's the same as guys who get sent out early as a single and get around the course in 2 hours and 5 minutes and shoot 64.
Yeah, there was plenty there last week as well. Jack Carter, who won a new car with a hole-in-one. There was plenty of interesting. And a personal highlight, Kalgoorlie, I hadn't been to the golf course before. That place is cool.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Looks really good.
It actually is a desert course that looks like it fits in its environment, which is pretty rare.
Yeah. And I'll never get the red dirt out of my shoes.
You should have your own shoes. Angel Yin, I thought, was, for me, was the highlight. I've been waiting for her to win for a really long time. And she's a great character. I hope the floodgates open for her. I'm not sure. She's had her issues as a pro, but it was good to see her win.
And on the subject of last week, let's cover off the tipping results before we reach the gloating stage. We collectively recorded 7 top 10s, including a second place for Rod with Adam Hadwin on the PGA Tour. That I think was a very good tip of Adam.
That was going to be my...
Yeah, that's right. We know that.
Yes, we know.
Logue had a moral second there.
But there were 2 more wins, both by Adrian Logue, of course, with Angel Yin and Minwoo Lee. That takes us to 173 top 10s, 27 wins for the year. Logue, floor is yours. Tell us how good you are.
I'm a humble tipster here, Jimmy. There's no need to wallow in.
But the results do the
fact that I've now had 13 wins this year.
Could you go through them for us?
Before I throw up, let's start moving ahead to this week's action.
Congratulations.
That is very impressive. And
I've now been beaten into submission. I'm no longer taunting you. I've just accepted. I'm bowing down. You clearly have something going on.
Quite incredible, yes. Okay, first, given we 3 find ourselves in Australia, let's start here. And the Challenger PGA Tour of Australasia and WPGA Tour of Australasia head to South Australia. It's been a long time between visits for the men. This week is the newest Webex Players Series event. This one hosted by cricketing legend Greg Blewett, who's actually in the field and playing. Played Interstate Series for South Australia a couple of years ago. He was the host, but he's actually going to play.
So you got the son that was 2 years old and smacking balls around in the kitchen?
That's right, and would hit him off his face and all that sort of stuff.
Nice.
Wollonga Golf Course won't be too familiar for too many. It will be familiar for one of the field, Lockie Barker, whose parents' house literally backs onto the golf course. And he did have 3 other players staying with him this week, but Hayden Barron's unfortunately withdrawn.
I didn't know that. Do I need to pick another player based on what you've just said there?
Yeah, you do. But it is in the beautiful McLaren Vale region of South Australia, and it is home to Lockie Barker, as I say. It's heavily tree-lined, bit of water around, lots of dog legs, short distance-wise for tour standards, but with the dog legs and the trees, you can expect a little bit less than driver off the tee a lot of the time from these guys. It's the 3rd straight week for the men on the Australasian Tour. First event for a while for some of the women, though. Unfortunately, with the timing of Q schools around the world, LET, LPGA, we don't have as many of our more recognisable names, but there is still some of the women that are very much worth watching. And again,
called opportunity.
Correct. If you're down there or on the TV, which it will be, as every event from now until the end of the summer is on Fox Sports and KO. In terms of players to watch, Lockie Barker, highlight sort of circle, do everything you can to put him in your main frame. He also came 3rd last week, knows the golf course, so no reason not to think he won't be there. Ben Eccles, who won and is clearly in good form, was that worn out. There was no big celebration to factor in. He had 1 beer and was in bed by 9 o'clock, he told me on our flight yesterday. So
he didn't sleep the night before, did he? So
he did not sleep, I think, from about Friday. So he could be another chance. Jordan Zunic showing some really good signs of late. He's stayed with his brother, who's an NBL basketball player in Perth last week, who's now playing a game this weekend in Adelaide. So he's got some good juju going on at the moment. And I think James Marquezani is one who's trending in a very strong direction. And on the women's side, Robin Choi is the highlight.
The standout.
She missed an LPGA Tour card by the smallest of margins at the last Epsom Tour event of the season. So she's got some motivation to keep her going before she will probably go back to Q Series and try and get a card anyway. And on the sponsor watch front, for those that don't know, Webex is a web and video conferencing platform and does do something cool, I'm going to tell you. that it picks up who the main speaker is and it kind of blocks out background noise. That's cool. I like that.
There's a lot happening in that space in audio, as you could imagine. I found a new plug-in for my digital audio editor that I use the other week, which is unbelievable, the job that it does. If you listen to the interview between Sam Torrance and John Huggan on the Thing About Golf a couple of weeks ago, that was done in a bar with a staggering amount of background noise, which would have normally been a huge problem. I ran it through this tool. It's like, what happened there? It's like it just put them in their own, the cone of silence came over them. So that space, with digital communication, Zoom, and nobody left in the world who hasn't done a Zoom now, that's the sort of thing you're going to see a lot more of, because we've all done the Zoom with someone on a laptop in their kitchen with the sound bouncing around. You can't understand what they're saying, and it just makes everything impossible. That sort of technology is the way of the future. So,
and shout out to Glenn Smith from Cisco Webex, who is a
great supporter,
of golf and a great guy.
Is he caddying this week?
I don't think so. Okay. Don't know. Let's get some tips before we go around the table, and I'm going to take first tip because I can.
Why wouldn't you?
And I'm going to tip Lockie Barker.
Yeah, I was going to, because I'd not actually seen him swing before until I watched a bit of this coverage as well. He's like, yeah, you're right, Jimmy.
Oh, yeah.
This kid can play.
Oh, yeah. I was having a discussion with a couple of people about him yesterday via text message. It's really impressive.
Adventurous too, aggressive golf. And he hit it miles offline on one of those. He's out in the middle of the desert. Suddenly the ball just landed on the green.
And then 18 yesterday, he hit it way right with his second, took a drop from a tap cover. It landed in desert dirt, but standing on a cart path, and he just hit it and just hit tremendous shot.
That's X Factor, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's good players and good hitters, but that's X Factor.
Great attitude. Logue, who have you got?
Looking at this swing, you perhaps wouldn't pick it, but I'm going with Daniel Gale, who I think is just a quality player, just keeps proving that time and time again. And the cadence that I feel like he's going to be playing well at it's ready to kick in again. So he's going to have a good week.
The Webex Players Series, Castle Hill, his home club. A couple of home club players this year.
He's a get the ball in the hole guy.
Correct.
Just gets it in the hole somehow.
Just does it
You'd see him on the range, you go, no chance. You'd look at his scorecard after and go, how'd you do that? That's
Correct.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I'll be looking closely at the women's field, though, to see how they perform. Robin Choi in particular, I think, is super interesting. But this could be, you never know, this could be like New South Wales Open at Dubbo.
It's no New South Wales Women's Open at Dubbo. Let's just
in 5 years' time, you wait and see. This might be
Annika Rathbone is the one of those from that you might be talking about in 5 years' time like that. Rod, a tip?
I just spotted Jake McLeod in the field.
Sure is. He's last couple of weeks.
Yeah, good player.
I'm done with Jake.
You're done?
You're done?
In that case, I'll pick it up. Yeah. I'll take Jake this week, because I was going to go with Lachlan Barker. I didn't realise it was his home course. So good on you there.
Also a member of Glenelg, Lockie Barker, but that's by the by.
Good golf to watch, by the way. Watch it on TV.
Absolutely.
It really is. I'm also going with, I can't remember who I picked last year as my guy that I was just going to follow. Remember Charlie Robbins this year.
The Ninja Warrior.
The Ninja Warrior.
Yeah. That was a really nice surprise.
I'm all in on him. He's fantastic.
Yeah, I saw
doesn't look anything like a top-level golfer, but can play. He played all right.
He absolutely can.
So every week, he's my tip, plus whoever I pick.
Okay, beautiful.
Go, Charlie.
On we go around the world, and next stop is Japan and the ZOZO Championship. Logue, you're going to tell us all about ZOZO, Accordia Golf Narashino Country Club, the field, whatever's taking your fancy.
Sure, Jimmy. So ZOZO, first of all, just to get that out of the way, the title sponsor, they own and operate and plan for multiple services such as ZOZO Town, the fashion, e-commerce, wear, a smartphone app for sharing stylings, outfits. If this sounds crazy, this is straight from their website, and develops technology devices for body measurement such as ZOZO Suit, ZOZO Mat, and ZOZO Glass.
I'm so around anything where you just put your own name on anything.
Yeah.
ZOZO Town.
Yeah.
ZOZO Glass, whatever.
Just bodysuit stuff?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Sweet.
Okay. Fascinating. So the PGA Tour Fall Series continues at pace, very slow pace.
Bizarre criteria for getting it at Luke List won a couple of weeks ago. He's on the alternates list this week. Mad stuff going on this year.
Thank goodness this is the last of this Fall Series nonsense. And this field's interesting. It's a very restricted field, 78-person field. And there's a number of spots that are given over to Japanese players as well from the Japan PGA Tour, about 15 spots actually, about 15 spots, and a bunch of spots to top 50 FedEx Cup players. So there are some good players in the field, and a bunch of players who are sort of jockeying for status for 2024, but only 78 players in total. So it's being played at Accordia Golf Narashino Country Club. Accordia Golf is a big organisation in Japan that owns a heap of courses, like 170 courses.
Oh, right, wow.
Oh, cool.
They're like a Troon Golf type of thing, but they manage a lot more courses. It was interesting. It was part of that the rationalisation of Japanese golf that occurred over the last 20, 30 years, where it went from that sort of bubble economy.
It was crazy in the 90s, wasn't it? $2 million for memberships.
That's right, yeah.
$150,000 to join a driving range.
Yeah, that's right. So they had all these facilities, and then Accordia, this company and a couple of others actually came through and bought up all of those courses and sort of democratised golf in Japan to some extent. So it's an interesting sort of development there. But Narashino Country Club were familiar with that. We've seen it at this tournament for the last few years. It's a place where Tiger won, and Keegan Bradley's defending champion. So tree-lined, quite hilly, pretty dramatic. Fittingly for ZOZO fairways.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I needed to know about the course, actually, when I was doing my research.
Two greens on some of the holes. Didn't they use they used both greens? Because they have quite often a winter green in
I
Japan.
did this. I played in a course in Japan like a couple of months ago where they had the 2 green system going, which was traditionally for winter and summer.
That's right. So one's out of play for a whole season.
That's right. Yeah. But now they just put bent grass on both the surfaces, and it's pretty robust across both those seasons.
The Tiger one, they actually switched it. So the 4th hole, they played the right green one day and the left green the next.
Well, that's what they do for normal club golf in Japan these days. Most of these places where they've regrassed it with bent, they do alternate days of the week. Yeah.
Good for traffic. Yeah. You've already got the greens.
Absolutely.
Great idea.
Can you find a third Z for us in ZOZO, Zoysia and something?
No.
Okay.
Zero disappointment in this tournament.
Nice.
Hideki Matsuyama is playing, Xander Schauffele, Colin Morikawa, Minwoo Lee, bit of Australian interest there, Sung Jae Im.
Been playing all right, Sung Jae, if you follow his tracker on Twitter.
Adam Scott's playing as well, Cam Davis. So a few Aussies. But, there's genuinely good quality of field at the top level here. Top 5 or 6 players are worth watching. Sahith Theegala as well, I think might do pretty well. But I guess we can go to picks.
You can go to picks if you would like.
I'll generously let you go first.
I'm going to take Minwoo Lee.
Well done. Yeah. Really? Two wins in a row?
Yeah, I think that might have been Minwoo's real moment to go on with something here.
That wasn't just golf.
That wasn't just that.
Floodgates don't open. This floodgates
are
opening.
It's not floodgates opening. He's never going to win
happens.
20 times in the next year, but he's gone to an event where he was the biggest show in town outside of Australia and won. Even when he's been the big show in town, he hasn't won in Australia. Yeah. He did it this week. Knew he was the best player there and showed it. It's in a different environment here, but he's getting very comfortable in the PGA Tour. Don't forget he's 6th at the Players. He was finished well at the PGA. I think it was his best major. He knows he belongs, and this is the kind of field where he'll go well in Japan already.
30 under. That's staggering
crazy
golf, even for a
crazy
good golfer. That's extraordinary golf. So I don't mind that. I'm going to go with Eric Cole. He's got to win something soon, surely, doesn't he? Yeah. I didn't realise. I knew he was a good mini tour player. 56 wins on the mini tours. 56. That's outrageous. So he's got to get it.
Is something like that not unlike if you have 2 putters, you have 1 putter? If you have that many wins on a mini tour and no wins on a big tour, do you have any tour?
Do you have any? No, but winning is not. There's an ingredient of winning which is universal. And he's going to show up at some point because he was close again last week. He was in the mix again last week. He's been there and thereabouts all year. He's just blossomed this year.
I like Eric Cole.
I don't hate the possibility that he could win this week.
Logue?
My pick is Xander on Zoysia at ZOZO.
Oh, it's not a Z. So.
It's good enough.
What did Ferrity say about Xander Schauffele? I'd like to buy a vowel, please. When he saw his name written down.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's a good tip. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, let's go stateside now and the LIV Golf Team Championship in Miami.
Do I need an abacus?
You're about to have a
I thought they're finished.
No. They're now playing the teams. The individuals is done, and I'm about to kind of blow your mind in a couple of ways here. So batten down the hatches.
Okay.
Of course, back at Trump National Doral and the Blue Monster. Once a PGA Tour staple, it was a Dick Wilson design, long, lot of water, big bunkering, famous 18th with water all on the inside and whatever. But I give you this from the Trump Golf Doral website. Utilising the original design but boasting updated features, hazards and strategic options that restored the bite that gave the course its name, this Donald J. Trump signature designed course
Oh my goodness.
is a compelling test for golfers at every skill level. Let that marinate a little bit in your brain.
Okay.
Okay? Yep. We're all just going to do exactly what I do and
The
took it on
Donalds.
board and go, I don't really know what to say
The
about that.
Donalds, Ross and Trump.
Yep, exactly. Well put. The more interesting and similarly quite flummoxing element of this week, format. Let me try and outline it and confuse you again as much as I'm confused. So, top 4 teams are the 4 Aces, Crushers, Torquay and Rangecoats. They get a first round bye, so they're through to Saturday semi-finals. Teams 5 to 12 play the quarterfinals. They'll be matched up on Wednesday in a press conference when the highest seeded team, starting at number 5, will select their opponents. They'll all go out and play a shotgun start with 4 head-to-head matches that are made up of 2 singles matches and 1 foursomes match between those 2 teams that have picked each other.
I've already lost the will to live.
The winning teams from that will advance on Saturday to face the top 4 teams that had the bye through the first round. Sunday, all 48 players play stroke play, with each score contributing to an overall team score. The lowest team score among the teams who qualified from the matches will determine the LIV Golf team champions for 2023. If you've understood that,
You're clearly on a live payroll somewhere.
or you've got a brain that works far better than mine.
I feel like that was
Confused?
That would have
Me
been
too.
great writing for Colin Robinson for What We Do from the Shadows, the energy vampire.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
It's just the most complicated way to
I mean,
work
of all,
it out.
there's those who are against. I'm not a live fan, and I don't think they do anything particularly special, but that is so bad, so confusing. That is just taking your product and just ruining it.
Some of that was weird wording, though, as well. Like the team with the lowest score, rather than just saying that. Well, I don't know. There's got to be an easier way to say
Match
that.
play
That's just
followed by
that's
stroke
just the team
play,
that wins,
team
isn't it?
play followed by individual. It's like trying to play doubles and singles tennis at the same time. It doesn't make any sense. Just change it. Do something.
In the press release that I read when it came out, I think it was 2 weeks ago, the fact that it said the traditional shotgun start got me already confused. And that, so basically,
Match play with a shotgun start?
It's a grand,
correct.
It's
So
a grand tradition.
The quarterfinals and stuff will be a shotgun start. So basically, the 4 teams that have been the best all year will play the 4 teams that can get through the rest of them,
Well,
and
they're
then
rewarded for their body
and then
of work.
the 4 teams out of those 4 matches, 4 matches, 4 winning teams out of those are the only ones who can win on Sunday.
Is it the only,
But then it's all a big individual stroke play to keep them all there.
the only positive out of all of this is that they at least haven't made it a handicap event, which is what the PGA Tour has done with their Tour Championship. So that's about the most positive thing you can say. I can't understand.
There's going to be a big party at the event in Miami. Fisher's back to play, who was the DJ who played in Adelaide. The people of Florida will go and have
It's kind
a
of
great
what it's
time.
about, isn't it? It's as much about that as
Correct.
the golf.
There'll be a bit more head-to-head stuff, which we kind of want in the teams, but it's one of those ones where we all talk about the team golf's probably the best element of LIV,
It's got the most potential.
and let's try and get it in a head-to-head format, and then they do something like this to confuse us. So we're all confused, but give me a team and who's going to win. Log.
My heart says Smash. That's what the website told me to say.
You were a Smash guy.
I'm a
Yeah.
Smash guy.
Yep.
But there's just continued turmoil in Smash.
Is there?
Brooks
who's
didn't
Smash?
give Wolf any credit for like these. And
it's that team.
we've only had
All right.
So I don't know. That's
Why is he
it's
picking on
tearing
Matt
me
Wolf?
to pieces. This internal
I bet. So are you smashing?
this infighting in Smash. No, I'm going to have to go with Torquay. Heart says Smash, but head says
I got
Torquay.
Torquay in the team generator, so now I'm torn. Rod?
I'm a Majestics guy, and I'm sticking with them.
Nice. I like it.
I can't remember who they are. Stenson,
Poulter
Poulter,
and
Westwood,
Stenson and
and who's the
Westwood.
fourth?
It was Sam Horsfield until he got injured. Is it Laurie Cantor?
Maybe
Does
Laurie
he
Cantor.
fill in? I
Well,
think.
again, the website told me Majestics, and there's no way the website would get it wrong.
No.
So if I'm a Majestics guy, and this is the thing, Logue, this is
I'm all
typical
in
of
on
you.
Smash, don't worry.
Well, apparently not. You know, if you got a team, you back the team, mate, and you stay with the team. That's what fans do.
So,
Anyway,
fair
you've
enough.
shown your colours. You've nailed those to your mast, so we'll let that go.
Yep. I am a Torquay man, but I'm going to go with Crushers, which is Bryson and Aniban Lahiri and
Can
Paul
anybody beat
Casey and
4 aces?
Charles.
Isn't 4 aces?
Yeah, I can't imagine, but Crushers get the first round bye, which is crucial in this format that I understand so well. So
Yeah, so Torquay gets the first round bye. That's all I needed to hear.
yeah.
But just fandom, Rod. This is not about me. This is about the listeners.
Your fan.
Yeah.
So you're both. You're servicing
Your
both
fan.
markets. You're
Okay.
both a fan and you have fans. I see what you are. That's a conundrum.
All right, time for Korea and the LPGA. Rod, you're going to take us through the BMW Ladies Championship. No sponsor needed required on the
You've already
BMW.
gone
We
through
did that
all
a couple of weeks back.
Yeah, indeed. So this used to be the KEB Hanabank Championship. It's a joint LPGA and Korean Tour. Limited field, no cut. So 72 holes, everybody plays, 84 players. This is kind of the reward for playing well all year if you're on the LPGA. Yeah, I think it's the top 60 on the LPGA get starts in the Asian swing.
Yep.
So you've got most of the big name players there. This is the third iteration in this one. The first held in 2019, Hana Zhang won it, Jin Young Ko, and Lydia Ko is defending. Here's something interesting, Jimmy, and you know more about this than I do. Lydia Ko, Jin Young Ko, Seon Yu, Sung Hyun Park, Ji Ye Shin, and Jungwon Lee 6, all major winners, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are all on the invite list as opposed to now. Are they just trying to make space by using the invite list for that? Lydia Ko, you would imagine is defending champion. She's automatically in the field, but they're on the invite list. So
Yeah, I would suggest that would be the
seems
case.
odd. Yeah. Sung Hyun Park's a US Open winner. Ji Shin's a multiple major winner. So it just seems odd.
Most of those, though, that you list outside of Lydia wouldn't get in on the CME Globe points list, which is
Jin
the
Young?
primary determinant of. Jin Young would, but that would allow them
Jin
to
Young
extend
Ko's
that a little bit.
In off the points.
Yeah, she would. Well, she's on the invites.
No, she's not on the
Well, she was, because this changed yesterday too. There was somebody else. Anyway, they're doing funny things with that. So it just tells you what goes on behind the scenes to present a golf tournament. All we do is look at the field. To get players in sometimes, the tournament organisers have to do some weird stuff. It just struck me as a bit odd.
You just mentioned Hana Zhang there. It's a little blast from the past. What happened to Hana Zhang?
Well, she went back to playing Korea
She
full
plays in
time. She
Korea.
left the LPGA, so she's still a big star in Korea. There was that whole issue between her and In-Ji Chun with the suitcase that went down the stairs at the airport. In Korea, that was off the charts scandalous.
All right.
Those two were under incredible scrutiny over that whole thing, and there were people taking sides. It really blew up.
Really? It was a Tonya Harding type of situation.
Kind of, yeah. And Hana Zhang didn't come out of that the best. And she wasn't driven off the LPGA Tour, but she got to a point where she's like, don't want to be here anymore. So she's moved home and she plays just in Korea.
She has
occasionally
bobbed
comes
up
here.
occasionally.
Won the Australian Open here.
Yeah, won Australian Open before she went
That
back
was
to playing
before
in
that.
Korea,
Yeah.
but has been back here since, I think.
Yeah. Really good player and a lot of fun, great character. She also got into a lot of trouble in Korea when she did the dance when she won in Singapore on the final green. That didn't go down well with a lot of people in Korea either, apparently. So, but a really good player. $2.2 million purse. This is one of the biggest ones on the LPGA Tour, which is part of the reason you get so many names. Australians in the field, and I like this. I think with the Australians, we can just go with first names.
Yeah.
Minji, Hannah, Grace, Steph, and Sarah.
Nice.
Yep.
I think everybody can earn.
I think
no
we're good.
Karis Davidson, despite a top 10
that's
last
interesting.
week.
Yeah.
You'd expect the top 10s get a start.
plays
But not
very
limited
comfortable.
field event.
No.
No, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Very
Plays
impressive
a lot of
last week,
confidence,
Karis
yeah.
Davidson. That was great to watch. Karis has got some serious skill. And
Great
just-
potential, yeah.
It's
Just
really
hasn't
having to
come out.
find herself a little bit on that tour.
She's in that category of she doesn't guarantee her starts, and so it's
Yeah.
hard to.
Difficult.
Yeah.
Works with Dom as a party, I think, still. Coach of Lucas Herbert and coach of Momoka Kabori and a great swing coach. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Real
Scotland's
grind.
Karis
She's a
Davidson,
grinder.
as
Yeah.
John Huggan will tell
Yeah.
Yes.
and the more she wins, the more Scottish she'll become.
Exactly.
According to Huggy. C1 Valley Country Club, I'll be honest with you, I did my best. I can find almost nothing about it except what the website, that's on the course website itself says. Open in 2004.
Donald J. Trump design by chance?
Sorry?
Donald J. Trump design by chance?
No, interestingly, there is something interesting about the design which I'll come to in a minute. So first opened in 2004 with a 9-hole course, added 18 holes in 2012. And for the BMW Championship, they did a major renovation with a very prolific architect in the Asian region, David Dale. Also listed on his website among the course renovations that he's done. Wollonga Golf Club, where the Webex Series is being played this
Wow.
week.
Synergy.
Segue of the week?
Do you know
That's
what
not a segue, really.
Do you know what that's promoting? The kind of synergy that Webex would bring in.
That's exactly right. So it'll be interesting to see the course. From the pictures I can see, it looks like what you'd expect a resortish sort of a course to look like in Asia. And most parts of the world, actually, Queensland, Florida, those sort of warm weather places and whatnot. So look, it'll be interesting to see. Good field and all the rest of it. Time for tips. I'm going with Ataya Titikin. Up and down year, due to play some good golf. Second last outing, but it was a couple of weeks ago in Texas.
Okay. I like that. That's pretty solid. Logue, can you give us some inspiration with your pick?
I'm liking Hyoju Kim for this week.
Okay.
Really good player and flies under the radar. She and Ji-Yu Lin both just fly under the radar, don't they?
Yeah,
You just don't give them. So does Runing Ying to a certain extent.
Yeah. There's
a
a
really
lot of
good player, Hyoju Kim.
Yeah.
Would be on the President's Cup international team.
For sure.
Were they picked this
Absolutely.
week?
Yeah.
I also like the look of attire, but I, for some reason, decided not to. But I'm going to go
You know
with
where Ataya played, don't you? In the past.
Where about?
The New South Wales Women's.
Oh,
Do you know who's probably also played at New South Wales Women's Open? My tip of Hannah Green.
I don't think she was.
Was she there at
She
Dubbo?
wouldn't been at that one, but she would have played one.
Not at Dubbo.
It's amazing she's
The
overcome,
key is Dubbo.
overcome not being at
You've got to
Dubbo.
have all the ingredients to
go
make
on
the
to a
pie,
successful
Jimmy, and
career.
If it's not Dubbo, then you haven't got all the ingredients.
Okay, sure, whatever.
Imagine what she could have
top-
achieved if she'd been at that.
Imagine if you were imagine how many
Careers it's
majors she'd
launched.
have now.
That's exactly right.
She was top 10 here last year, Hannah, and is playing some good golf of late. So
Looks determined.
looks determined.
She's looked determined for a good year. I'm surprised she hasn't won more, actually. She's looked determined since she left here after winning that TPS event last year. She's looked a winner every week. She hasn't got it done yet, so I don't mind that tip either.
Before we do take our last golf tournament in, we are going to also encourage people to sign up for the Cancer Council's The Longest Day, which this year officially falls on Monday, December 11, but participants can take the challenge at their local golf club or wherever they're going to do it anytime during December and January. Basically, challenge is play 4 rounds of golf, 72 holes in a single day at their club and raise money for the Cancer Council and people to battle skin cancer and all that sort of stuff. It's a fantastic concept.
Terrific initiative. It really
It is draining, I imagine. Logue, you have done
You've
it.
done it.
I've done it
Can
twice.
you give us
I
a
carried
bit
my
of
bag for one of them.
Wow. Can you give us
How'd
a
you do the
little
other
bit
one?
of how'd you do that one?
Just with a pull
With a
trolley.
trundler.
Oh, right, I was going to
Okay.
say, no cards.
What's
No,
it,
no, no.
what's it
You can't
like
do
to
cards.
do it? The experience of playing, but also that you're actually doing something for people that aren't yourself.
You got to start very early and avoid and be polite to the greenkeepers who are out there trying to prep the course at that time. But yeah, get your first 36 done as quick as you can. Bring a change of clothes, have a shower, and a bit of lunch in the clubhouse after 36. You'll be like a new person. You can go out again and you'll smash that last 36. Although you do start to sort of just play hate, or like you hate playing towards the end. Like you just there will be a period of that, but then you're sort of like by the last 9 holes. If you can have some sort of an event going where you're playing against your playing partners
Within the group.
Yep.
yeah.
There is interesting that both times I've played, it's come down to the final hole, last
Right.
part of the final hole. Both times I've
Oh,
played
cool.
for like an all-day 72-hole competition.
Yeah.
But yeah, just chafing can be a little bit.
I
You should
can
just
imagine.
heads
Speaking
up
of
on
chafing, our man Mark Hayes does it every year. And Hazy, great supporter.
He's ripe for chafing. He's a chafer for sure.
You like that for a segue? But he does it a lot. Andy Marr,
Andy Marr,
and
high profile
2 or 3
SEN, all that sort of
spandex.
stuff. But a lot of other people, you can do it at your golf course. You can do it anywhere. Go to wherever you'd like to do it, and obviously organise it with the club.
Preferably not too hilly a golf course. But
Exactly.
Don't
Wear
do Mangrove
comfortable
Mountain.
shoes. Play somewhere that's not too up and down. Don't play the longest golf course in your area, but also wear sunscreen, wear hat, wear sun protective clothing, all that sort of stuff. And you register by going to longestday.org.au.
Playing golf and doing something good at the same time. What's not to like? It's a win.
Exactly right.
It's an absolute win.
Very
Two things I
satisfying.
rarely do. So there's
It's an extremely satisfying feeling at the end as well.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things.
In the same way that smacking your head against a brick wall feels great when you stop, is it that kind of satisfying feeling? It's like,
Probably a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Final destination for us this week is Spain and the Estrella Dam NA Andalucia Masters. And
Nice.
once again, Rod Murray.
Let's start with the sponsor.
Estrella.
Estrella Dam NA. The NA stands for non-alcoholic. It's a non-alcoholic beer.
I knew Estrella Dam was a beer, and I didn't.
I didn't know, but that's what the NA is.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
I was over in Europe and they were all ordering NA beer.
Yeah. So one reviewer says, and this is all we've got to say about the sponsor, golden yellow, light, medium hopped, malty, citrus notes, spicy, and light honey notes. But no alcohol. So there you go.
Okay.
Keep that in mind.
Okay.
Played at
I'm as confused as I was about the LIV Golf Teams Championship.
You just drink it. It's much easier.
Okay, thanks. Okay.
The Real Club de Golf Sotogrande, which is Royal Golf Club of Sotogrande.
Yep.
That's Spanish for that. Robert Trent Jones Senior, designed from 1964. First course in the area, which now has lots of golf courses. This tournament was previously played at Valderrama. Yep. It's now a LIV tournament venue, so hence the European or the DP World Tour won't go there. Apparently, it's also the first Bermuda course and the first automatic irrigation system in Europe. So,
cool.
Robert Trent Jones Senior taking
Time for them to replace that.
to the oh yeah, not a lot of professional golf played. Previously, the side of the Q School. Thank you, Logue. You're really on fire today, aren't
They've
you?
got a limited lifespan.
You were late
You were late
to start
and you're
with,
distracted.
and now you're distracting everybody. You, my
That
friend.
won't fly in Professor Murray's class.
That's exactly right. Detention for you. It's an Uber private club. Mixed reviews from green fee players. 2 complaints about the trolleys in the 5 reviews I read. So if you're going to go and play there, keep that in mind. Maybe take your own buggy.
You're going to do the longest day, bring your own buggy.
That's exactly right. Bring your own. I think it's pretty hilly. What they do host every year here is a very big amateur tournament, European amateur tournament. Sergio, Podrag, and Rory have all won that amateur event. So This is a golf course that's not unfamiliar to high-quality players. The course itself, I had a little bit of a look on YouTube. Looks a bit like Royal Pines. Palm trees, sort of whitish fairways, some water hazards. I did find an interview with the club director, Kostka Horno. And if you're playing this week, be aware of this. We're aware what professional players at this level are capable of and the numbers they're marking week in and week out. The course will be prepared to provide a fair degree of challenge, but we are obsessed with avoiding very low scores, which, given how close we are to the Strait of Gibraltar, will depend largely on the wind. So you'd expect that the course is going to be set up pretty tough. Obsessed with avoiding very low scores. Just on a side note, as a theory, I don't think I like that. I remember Huggy always said this about Tiger at Oakmont in 2007 when they played the US Open there. He walked off the course, I think it was day 2 or 3, shot 69, 1 under, and he said, that's as good a golf as I can play. And as Huggy pointed out, if the person who's played the best golf we've ever seen plays his best golf and the best he can do is 1 under, there's probably something wrong with the golf course.
Yeah,
That's
agreed.
Too hard.
It's a distortion.
It's a distortion, exactly. Yeah, so I don't think we'll see anything like that this week, but it will be interesting to see what the scoring is, given that he's laid down that marker as the course director. It's a good European tour field. Wyndham Clark is playing. He's been obviously lured across there with Matt Kuchar. No John Rahm, which I'll be disappointed about, but understandable given Ryder Cup, Spanish Open. I don't think they would have expected it. Francesco Molinari is playing, which seems an odd decision. He's made 1 cut in his last 5 tournaments, and that 1 cut, he shot 11 under for the week because golf.
Yep.
That's how it works. Can't break 70 for 4 out of 5 weeks. The one he does, he shoots 11 under. Ryan Fox, Victor Perez, Alex Fitzpatrick, Richie Ramsey, Rasmus Højgaard, that's the kind of thing. Jason Scrivener's the only Australian in the field. So my tip is going to be Victor Perez. He's been quiet for too long. Missed 4 of his last 5 cuts. You can tell that in the field list if you're present and you get the last 5 results.
You're going with anti-form.
Well, no.
So like a Costanza
He
pick.
finished strong last week in the Spanish Open. He shot 66 in the last round. So he's clearly found something.
Signs of
Good
life.
player, beautiful golf swing.
Scotland's
Victor Perez, that's exactly right.
That's
Huggy will be claiming him before
Yep.
long.
Low?
But he's a good player. I'd like to see him get up this week.
Marcel Siem.
Nice.
That's my pick. Good week last week, obviously.
Great
but
character.
Quality player.
Angry hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Anthony Summers, who played on the European
He hits
Tour a
an
little
angry
bit.
ball.
Well, that's right. Well,
It's an angry- he's got
popped
angry
up on
balls.
I was watching the Open with BJ and Anthony Summers a few years ago. Marcel Siem popped up on the screen, and he just looked at the screen and he went, Marcel, angry man.
Yeah, he's
that was
angry.
his take on Marcel Siem.
Angry ball
man.
Siem.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he really goes at it, doesn't he?
He's one of the guys in line for one of these PGA Tour cards via the top 10,
Okay.
which would be quite thrilling to see Marcel go over there and do
It's
that.
a hell of a resurrection of a career too, because he was
100%.
gone,
Yeah.
completely gone.
Absolutely.
Challenge Tour struggling on the Challenge
Correct.
Tour.
I'm going to go with a man you mentioned earlier and go with Francesco Molinari.
Wow.
I think back at the Ryder Cup as an assistant captain, he would have got a real kick
maybe.
of, I want to get back here. He
Feels
is too
distant
Because it's
good
got
at-
to be just psychology.
He
isn't
is
it? It's
too
not
good of a player not
skill
to
level.
be in that conversation regularly. He's moved. Were moving the family to California when COVID hit, because he was going to play in the PGA Tour a lot more. It was a bit of a disaster in the move and all that sort of stuff, and then the disconnection from the family. And I think he's just had a rough couple of years after being right at the pinnacle.
Yeah.
He's too good a player not to be back there.
Really interesting.
Works
really
really
interesting
hard.
guy, and,
Really nice guy. So,
You don't think that the 15th hole at the Masters in 2019 finished?
oh yeah, absolutely. It hurt him. I was standing right there.
That was awful.
But you mentioned big amateur events. Just a quick note: it is the World Amateur Team Championship this
yes,
week
yes,
as well, which is Eisenhower Trophy and all that sort of stuff. So go Australia there. That will do it for us. Rod, have you got another historic event in your crosshairs for next week?
What do you mean?
Well, you took down the President's Cup.
I'll have a think about it. There's got to be something there that's low hanging fruit. Yeah, I'll find something to decimate.
Okay.
Actually, I've already done it before. The A&A needs to be switched to the Founders Cup.
Oh yeah.
Remove the A&A as a major, introduce the Founders Cup.
I think you had some relevance last week because it was kind of kicked in by a bit of Lexi talk and stuff like that.
I'm
That one
concerned
is
about the Founders Cup now with, and this came up in some podcast recently, but the LPGA's future could be in jeopardy, and the relevance of the Founders Cup is tied to the success of the LPGA. So,
Yeah.
Low.
like if
It's starting to sound like a column for next week.
It is, yeah.
Because I don't have any ideas of my own. So yeah,
We'll
feel
take
free to
that
send them on
discussion
in.
offline because that column will get more clicks if we haven't talked about it a week before. Logue, will you apologise now to other tipsters for shaming their abilities?
I've got nothing to apologise for.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
Good. Nice. Okay. You can follow along with all that we have discussed and more on the Golf Australia magazine website, golfaustralia.com.au. And while you're watching that golf this week, you should be flicking through a copy of the November issue of the Golf Australia magazine. You'll find Rory McIlroy on the cover. Yeah, inside you can learn from his swing what's applicable to you. There's a comprehensive preview of next week's Asia Pacific Amateur at Royal Melbourne. You can relive 18 greatest shots ever played on home soil as well. That is episode...
Review of Follow the Sun as well.
And
Ben
read
Hogan.
Logue's
Ben Hogan
latest-
biopic, or biopic as
It's a
you would
biopic.
say.
I've actually heard other people call it a biopic.
Yeah, it's a biopic.
But it's biopic. Please.
No, when it's the one word, it's a... Oh, I don't know.
Biopic sounds like something that happens in an operating theatre.
Sounds like you could have a biopic arm. Steve Austin, the $6 million man, might have had a biopic arm.
I think we've clearly had enough.
Okay. That is episode 36 of Playing from the Tips, and we will be back next week.